All right, y'all, it's terrifying article time. I hope you're ready for terrifying article time. So I read this article the other day about the absolutely wacky weather that's currently happening, and I had to share this with you. So they say, off the charts, Earth's vital signs are going haywire. So this is from, just to be clear, this is from June 30th. So this guy says, in my 30-decade-long career being a weather forecaster and now chief meteorologist and climate specialist, I have never observed so many of Earth's vital signs blinking red. Meteorologists and climate scientists all around the world are in awe of the simultaneous, literal, off-the-charts records being broken. Now, I'm going to show you the charts in a second. Buckle up for that. Yes, it's climate change. The steady trend of rising temperatures over the last few decades has placed Earth's baseline climate so high that achieving these extremes, which used to be rare if not unheard of, is now expected when conditions are ripe. And right now they are, with El Niño's added heat and several other concurrent varying natural climate patterns. So to be more specific, it's climate change with other natural patterns piled on top. Now this is why I like this article too, because it's very nuanced. You know, it's not like low IQ, just sort of regurgitating lazy theories. It's very detailed. With El Niño now in place, we are getting a glimpse of how far we can force the climate system with never before observed heights achieved. Many more are on the way for the 2023-2024 as El Niño gets stronger and more heat is released from the oceans into the atmosphere. From ocean temperatures to sea ice to land ice to emissions from wildfire smoke, the charts below speak for themselves. Let's start with ocean temperatures. Due to a combination of factors, the North Atlantic Ocean is way beyond record hot right now. Let me repeat that. The North Atlantic Ocean is way beyond record hot right now. The kind of heat that would only be found once in tens or 100s of thousands of years in a climate before human-caused warming took hold. Take a look at the North Atlantic Sea temperature departure from normal in 2023 compared to previous years. Guys, look at that chart. North Atlantic Sea surface temperature on June 21st, 1982 to 2023. Look how above and beyond we are. So they have it in Celsius here, degrees Celsius. And we're just off the charts. Look at this. The Atlantic has warmed about 2 degrees Fahrenheit since 1900 due to warming from emissions of greenhouse gases due to the burning of fossil fuels, and also more recently, the decrease in air pollution allowing more sunlight through. Now that is interesting. So this is a rare instance where they're saying, look, a decrease in pollution actually allowed more sunlight through, which heated up the Earth more. Wow. Okay. By the way, this is not a pro-pollution argument, just to be clear. I'm not making it, nor is this guy making it. Okay, let's continue. In the shorter term, on top of that, we have a weaker Atlantic high, meaning weaker tropical low-level winds, trade winds, and thus less dust stirred up off Africa. Less dust over the tropical Atlantic skies means more sun gets through and it warms the surface. That's another weird thing. Normally at this time, we'd have the dust from Africa sort of covering the Atlantic skies, tropical Atlantic skies, but we don't now, so more sun's getting through, which is heating up everything more. Okay. In the below comparison from Dr. Michael Lowry, you can see the absence of dust compared to normal. Use the slider bar to view the eastern tropical Atlantic. Also notice the excess smoke in the North Atlantic from the Canadian wildfires. We're going to return to that. Okay. So this is the dust that you would normally see, and it would be over the tropical Atlantic, right? This year, not much dust, and also look at the smoke from the Canadian wildfire. There is also an extreme heat wave off the coast of Europe contributing to the heat as well, and is not confined to the Atlantic. In the Pacific, El Niño is warming the tropical waters while heat lingers from a warm blob over the north-central Pacific Ocean. When you add it all up, global temperatures are way beyond record hot, making the heat basically statistically impossible before human-caused warming existed. Below you can see the black line indicating this year's sea surface temperature departure from normal, about 4 standard deviations above normal, which is far above records. Look at that. Look at that. That's almost off the chart, quite literally. Wow. Wow. Okay. Another chart that has really stood out for its off-the-charts look is Antarctic Sea Ice. Right now, sea ice should be growing fast near the South Pole because it's winter there. Instead, growth is labored and departures from normal are the highest ever observed at a very surprising time of year given that it's winter there. Okay, look at this. Antarctic sea ice anomalies range from 1979 to 2002. Look at this. And then you have 2023. Look how low we are. Jesus. To view this another way, take a look below at the map of Antarctica. The red shows areas that are behind on sea ice growth nearly everywhere. Look at this. That's wild. While climate change is likely playing a role in the downward trend these last few years, it can likely not explain the rapid dip in sea ice growth in the past few months. The atmospheric and ocean currents are very variable near Antarctica, and it will likely take much research to quantify the reasons. Over the longer term, there are worrying signs at the bottom of the world, with a few new papers showing a large decline in the vital overturning circulation. That dip in southern ice also caused global sea ice to be at record departure from normal levels. So look at this. Global sea ice lowest on record for this time of year. Right here's what it's like other years, and here's 2023. Global sea ice, record low for this time of year. Now let's move on to the Canadian wildfires. It's early in fire season, but already Canada has experienced its worst wildfire season on record in terms of burning area, fire size, and intensity. As the climate warms, areas dry, and fires spread more vigorously. This year, there has been a persistent heat dome for months across parts of Canada, which has led to less rain and warmer weather. Holy cow. A measure of fire size and intensity from 2000 to 2023. Magenta is 2023. This is other seasons. Here is 2023. Canadian wildfires are off the charts. This has led to a record-setting amount of greenhouse emissions from Canadian wildfires. So many emissions, it's almost equal to that of Canada's normal greenhouse emissions in a whole year, and it's still early in the fire season. Annual total wildfire carbon emissions for Canada. So this is it right here. That's crazy. This is 2023. We can see a worrying sign from the fire emissions data that as we warm the Earth, growing emissions from fires will counteract the deliberate emissions reductions from governments, which are aimed at reducing climate change. It's an irony. Lastly, let's discuss Greenland. Recently, the below image was posted by Dr. Jason Box, an expert on Greenland. It's how surface snow ice melt spiked off this chart over the past few years. Greenland melt extent 2023. So this is this year. This is the 2023 melt. At this rate, Greenland's not going to be there pretty soon, dude. Although this may appear to be a record spike, this graph shows values in the gray, which are within the 10th and 90th percentile, meaning it does not show values above 90%. The spike was caused by very warm temperatures, some of which can be attributed to downsloping winds. A further inspection reveals that we have seen much larger spikes in a few years prior, especially in 2021, the year of record for Greenland. This graphic below was made by Professor Elliot Jacobson. Greenland land melt area anomaly, 1991 to 2023. So 2002 was pretty bad. 2012 was pretty bad. And 2023, we're early in the season, but it's on track to be as bad as 2002 or maybe worse. But for Greenland, it is still early in the season. Next week, a massive heat dome will form over the island, and melt rates will be very high. With the added heat in the system for El Nino, it is worth watching to see if 2023 can overtake 2012 for the title. So far, I've written all this without mentioning the ongoing heat wave in the U.S. While it was over Mexico and Texas, it became one of the longest-lived early season heat waves on record, and by some measures is the worst heat wave on record, especially in Mexico and Southwest Texas. Numerous all-time records were broken, with stations in Texas recording over a week in a row of record-breaking heat. That heat has moved east into the U.S. Deep South and Florida. The heat dome will finally fade over the next few days. So this was the heat dome, and you had temperatures in the hundreds throughout all of Texas for quite a long time, and Mexico was baking. The bottom line is, with Earth's overheated climate and an intensifying El Nino, we can expect to see the Earth's climate system astonish us over and over again into next year. So again, this article was on June 30th, right? And since then, you know what happened? Tuesday was the world's hottest day ever recorded, with a global temperature of 62.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me repeat that. It was the world's hottest day ever recorded. Look, man, I'm no expert. But this doesn't seem good. Now, I like that article because it was nuanced. It says, yes, climate change is driving this, but also there are other factors like it being El Nino, et cetera, right? Like, so it's not just going with one narrative. It's sort of like very nuanced in its approach. It's not black and white. There's shades of gray. I like that. But having said that, I think the overall takeaway is very black and white. I think we need to get off of the fossil fuels. Use green technology and renewable technology and wind and solar and geothermal and nuclear. And because, I mean, if every year for the rest of our lives, it's like record year, record year, record year, record year, at some point, we're at the point of no return, right? And I remember reading those articles about how the Middle East will be uninhabitable by like 2050. Then you have a massive immigration crisis, refugee crisis, and that's one of many. Wars over water, drought, famine, etc. The western portion of the United States is running out of water. We're just getting started, man. And I feel like since we're the frog in boiling water, it's like a slow thing, so there's just not much movement to really address this in a serious way. Biden did, to his credit, do a multi-billion-dollar effort in the IRA to bring about green and renewable technology. It's made in America. So there are good things, but we're not going nearly as far as we need to. And I think everybody knows that. And when you read a scary article like this, it's just a reminder that we got a long way to go. It doesn't look good. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.